ever feel like you just need to be there already? Like your worthiness or your sense of inner peace or fulfillment depends on having this external thing come into your life, whether that be a job, a relationship, a promotion, a certain number of followers, a certain number in your bank account. Like you just need this thing right now, or else you can't be at peace, you can't relax, you can't be grateful and happy about where you are in life, while at the same time knowing that you need to feel at peace now in this moment in order to actually call in what it is you want. Because if you don't know, just to explain how manifestation works, is you want to be feeling what you would feel like if you already had the thing that you're trying to call in, like right now. And if you're having trouble doing that, if you're battling urgency, the sense of like, I need it right now, or else I can't relax, or else I can't be at peace, and so I'm doing all these things to distract myself and keep moving and keep trying to move myself forward that are actually just like you spinning your wheels and you feel kind of stuck. If you're saying, yes, that's me, this video is for you. This video is for the part of you who's exhausted from chasing, who thinks your worthiness is on the other side of arrival. If you've been stuck in a sense of urgency, this video will help you understand why that is and hopefully support you in unwinding that from the roots. If you've ever told yourself, especially recently, I should be further along by now, then please stick around, because there's something that your body is trying to tell you. So this video is actually very personal to me. I'm gonna be opening up and sharing some personal things in this video because it very much relates to what I'm personally moving through right now in this moment, and something I have been noticing in the collective energy of just the sense of like urgency of like, I need to be there right now. I can't be at peace with where I am right now. And so I wanted to make this video to share my experience of it, my perspective of it, to hopefully support you in navigating your experience with this sense of urgency in a way that is empowering and supportive. So first things first, I also have a very strong, very loud part of me that embodies this energy of urgency, of like, I need to be there right now. I can't wait. I can't deal with this situation the way that it is. Like, this part of me just really, really hates this feeling of being stuck, of being financially limited, of being in the earlier stages of building my audience, of building my business, and just wants to be there already at some nebulous future point where I have all the externally validifiable markers of success, like the number of followers, the number in my bank account, financial freedom. Like, this part of me really, really desires that. And this is not a video about shaming desire. I personally take the approach of honoring your desires as a North Star, a direction that you are being guided towards by your body, your system, to uncover more about what you're here to do in this life. And that journey towards calling in your desires can be more easeful without this really sticky, strong urgency energy, which is what this video is all about. So this part of me that just has this urgency, I actually discovered it's a younger part of me who equates safety to achievement, who equates worthiness to outcome. You know, I grew up in a really competitive, cutthroat academic environment, which was it left a very strong imprint in my psyche to this day. And looking back, I see that this younger version of me really felt unsafe. Like they needed to have the grades, they needed to have the test scores, they needed to have the competition results, the college acceptance results. They needed to know that information right now, because being in that space of not knowing that information meant that I wasn't better than any of my other classmates who all kind of ostracized me and didn't include me and viewed me as less of a person because of who I was. You know, naturally sensitive, emotionally intense, expressive person was that kind of personality was not accepted in the culture that I grew up in here in Korea. And so I had to kind of cling to this sense of safety that I found within the numbers, within the achievements. And I needed to have that artificial certainty, because if you think about it, you know, test scores, grades, they aren't real. They aren't really anything that carries any weight in the world of how you feel and your internal world, which is ultimately the most important aspect of our lives, right? How we feel internally is way more important than what we can achieve outside of ourselves. Because, you know, no matter how much you achieve externally, if you're not tending to your internal sense of safety and security, you'll just be on this never-ending rat race of chasing the next thing and the next thing, and reaching outwards and grasping and pulling to try and find this sense of fulfillment from somewhere outside of you, which is not sustainable. Because if you equate your worth to something that is outside of you, instead of claiming your worth, grounding in an internal sense of worthiness, knowing that you are worthy just because you are alive, if you are reaching outwards for that worthiness, for that confirmation, you are giving your power away to that which you cannot control. But that is just such a common trap that so many of us fall into in this modern day, fast-paced, capitalist, post-colonialist world that we do live in today. Can you remember anything like that you experienced, where you felt like your worthiness depended on something outside of you? Yeah, right. It's so common. It's such a sneaky little thing too. It really gets under there and limits you in the amount of joy and fulfillment and peace that you can find in life. And so I actually realized this, like I realized that this urgency was a younger part of me that was like running, constantly running, grasping, chasing, trying to do and achieve and produce in order to get closer to arriving, to feel safe. I recognized that when I was sitting at my desk. It was getting pretty late. You know, I tried to get off the screens like a certain time before bed, but I was on my laptop kind of just feeling really stressed out and channeling this energy of urgency of needing to be there now. Like, I'm sick of being where I am. I'm sick of not having the money that I want, the platform, the size of the platform that I want, and just kind of focusing on those external markers of success. And I ended up buying a course that I didn't need. And it was like an Instagram Reels growth course, which is like not that relevant because I'm not even trying to grow on Instagram right now. So it was this course that I didn't need, and I realized like, hey, why am I doing that? Like, why did I do that? Not in a way where I'm like kind of beating myself up, but in a real sense of curiosity and a desire to deepen my intimacy with myself. I really took some time to investigate what's going on. Why am I acting like this? Why am I doing this? And I realized it's because this younger part of me felt like if I did something more, if I just took action, if I kept pushing myself, then I would get closer to arriving at this end point that actually never seems to arrive. Because, after you get one grade, after you get one test score, there's always the next one, and you're kind of in this treadmill that's like never ending, and you're constantly having to run and push and chase and force and be in this state of survival mode where your body is activated, where you're not able to feel safe in your body. And ultimately, this tendency of urgency and trying to get things done and trying to be there right now is a survival strategy. It's the younger part of you who didn't feel safe being present with the way things were, being present in uncertainty, so they had to hustle and run and chase in order to feel safe, in order to protect themselves, in order to survive. And so really integrating that understanding of why we fall into these traps of urgency really brings a kind of compassionate lens to why we sometimes do the things that we do. Like instead of beating ourselves up for wasting hours refreshing job postings or your social media account, or being hard on ourselves for feeling like we'll get there faster if we do more and push more and end up feeling drained and exhausted and burnt out. Like, what if your urgency is actually a younger version of yourself just trying to keep you safe the only way they know how? So here comes the integration, the alchemy, the shifting of the dynamics of energy from kind of an unconscious stuck place to a more deepened awareness of what is actually happening, and bringing the light of our conscious awareness into the picture, into our hearts, cultivating this sense of self-compassion and understanding and unconditional acceptance of where we are. It's so powerful how transformative our own presence is. Releasing this tendency to shame and criticize for quote-unquote maladaptive behaviors, and just grounding in this understanding of why we sometimes do things that are counterproductive, because we understand that they're really driven by a younger part of us who had to live this way in order to survive, in order to protect us, and really bringing a sense of compassion and love for these younger parts of ourselves, rather than falling into these moments where we're identifying with these younger wounded parts of ourselves, where we're seeing the world through the eyes of a pattern that no longer holds relevance to where we are and where we want to go in life. When you see yourself stuck in these moments of urgency and running and spinning your wheels trying to make the situation different, can you step back and recognize what you are doing, what your system is doing in this moment, trying to protect you, trying to keep you safe, because it's scared, it feels unsafe, it feels overwhelmed and unworthy, and it really needs your presence. This younger part of you needs your presence and your acceptance, and just, even the practice, so simple, of putting your hand on your heart and breathing into the sensations of your hand touching your heart, and just saying out loud words like, I'm here, it's okay, I see you, we're safe now. You don't have to push and force and run until you're out of breath anymore. It's okay. And holding these younger parts of us in our compassion, rather than being driven from that unconscious place of fear, because this switch from unconscious to conscious of our survival mechanisms doesn't mean that we are deleting our desires. It just means that we are holding our desires with more intention and compassion, rather than relating to them from a sense of fear and unsafety. And of course, it's easier said than done. This is something that I am actually actively practicing myself, just holding space for the urgency and cultivating this sense of peace and worthiness in the process. Even though I'm not where I want to be yet, I'm holding this sense of self-compassion, knowing that I'm worthy of rest, I'm worthy of play, I'm worthy of joy, even in the process of becoming. And I truly believe that capacity to know that we are worthy without the end result, just believing in ourselves before we see it reflected on the outside, that is the key to accessing your unlimited creative power as a conscious being. Just recognizing who you are and dropping all the stories that have been given to us about how we need a certain thing outside of ourselves in order to be worthy, and just coming back to our knowing, and knowing that we are worthy, knowing that we are okay, knowing that it's okay to be at peace in this present moment. And going even further from that, once we really ground in a somatic sense of safety and peace and worthiness that is so anchored in our bodies that no matter what happens on the outside, we know that we're okay. We know that all this external stuff is just, for lack of a better word, an illusion. Even though it is real, this material world is real, but it is also a reflection of what we feel on the inside and what we believe on the inside. So it's so important to cultivate a sense of agency and empowerment and trust within ourselves before we step out into the world and try to make things happen. I sincerely hope that this video was supportive to you in your journey of releasing some of the stickiness around the urgency that you've been navigating. You're not alone. So many people, including myself, are navigating the same experience of unwinding urgency, unwinding the survival mechanism of needing to push and perform and do and produce in order to be worthy, and remember that we are worthy from the start. If you also happen to have a comparison wound, a tendency to compare yourself to others that gets you down and drains your energy, I actually have a free guide. It's a PDF paired with an audio companion and perhaps a mini email course as well, TBD, that you can grab for free in the link in the description. So please do check that out. That is my gift to you because I want to support you. I want to empower you and help you be the best version of you that you came here on this earth to be. Please like the video, leave me a comment. I always love hearing from you, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.